Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to tell you something important about the XRP price. I'm about to show you facts and proof that what I'm about to say has never happened before in history. But first, I'd like to talk about the role of retail investors or individual investors. The amount of volume we're seeing is unheard of, and it keeps going up in both the stock market and the cryptocurrency market. It doesn't make any sense when you look at the charts in a bigger picture. This is what I want to show you, and I think it's very important right now. We can see that right now, small investors are putting a lot of money into cryptocurrency stocks. A total of $4,100,000,000, 0 cents worth of stocks were bought on Monday only from 9:30 IEM to 12:30 p.m. This is the largest purchase ever made according to JP Morgan. This was more than $1 billion, 0 cents and a half times the previous high. People in stores had also bought more than $4 billion, 0 cents by 12 p.m. Retail sales made up a record 36% of all trade yesterday, which has also never happened before. This helped the S&P 500 quickly get back on track after starting the day down 1.1%. Look at this picture right now to understand how important this day was. The difference between that and almost every other day is crazy, but you can also see that it did this again in 2021. It did again at the beginning of 2020 during the pandemic. There were a record amount of individual investors or small investors right up until the bull market started. In 2022, we saw a similar trend. This is what we see now in the year 2025. This information has been looked over, and analysts now have a few thoughts on it. There are some people who say this is a very good sign. Some people see this as a very bad sign. There are good reasons to believe this is not at all what you think. As an example, each person looks at different facts. So let me tell you what I really think. I've lived through 3 bear and bull markets and have learned a lot since then. You should pay attention to the credit market. Always keep an eye on what's going on with the US bond market and the bond markets around the world. The bond market in Japan, the bond market in China. The official yield on Japan's 30-year government bonds has reached 3.15%, which is the highest amount ever. Japan was known for having low long-term interest rates for many years. Now they have to deal with very high inflation, a changing policy outlook, and a huge 260% debt to GDP. Japan also owns $1 trillion, 0 cents US debt, making it the country that owes the most US debt abroad. Japan's Prime Minister Ishiba said yesterday that things were worse than in Greece. You know what I mean? Things in Japan are getting pretty crazy and things don't look good. The US isn't too different either. The US has a very high level of debt to GDP, that's for sure. China and Russia, on the other hand, have much lower debt to GDP ratios. What this mean? The US and Japan are running their economies as if they're about to shut down. That's a big problem when you're not making nearly enough to pay off your debt. That's something we can all agree on. That's why some buyers are so scared. And I'm also worried about a lot of other things, such as the buy now, pay later scam that's going on in the US. Things are going as planned. People are paying for everything. What's going on now because of this? You can see that the well-known service buy now, pay later, CLA, just announced that they will lose $99 million, 0 cents in the first quarter of 2025, which is 110% more than the same time last year. A lot more money was lost on customer loans, 136 million in just the first quarter. This is the same company that just said buy now, pay later can now be used for DoorDash orders. Just to remind you, more and more people are financing things like the $30 0 cents delivery order that is being paid for by people. That's crazy. Another loss has been added. Also, they said that more than 100 million people would use this buy now, pay later deal. It doesn't make sense. I get why people might want to borrow money to buy a house or a car, but I believe there's a major issue with when people borrow money to pay for small things like a chair or a delivery, the economy is broken. The main issue is that there isn't enough money moving around, so prices for goods and services are too high. To begin, your government isn't setting up the right rules to keep the currency running smoothly. 2, there isn't enough money to go around. And some businesses are ripping off customers by charging 10 times the price of their goods and services. These businesses are making a lot of money while investors pay for their door-to-door sales. These are two major issues that need to be fixed right away. I believe that the Trump government is trying its best to do this, but the businesses that take advantage of U.S. citizens. This has led to a question that has made people like Michael Burry rethink it. People who saw the movie The Big Short know that the main character shorted. He became famous for making hundreds of millions of dollars doing that during the 2008 financial crisis. This person has said that the next year will be the worst financial crisis this country has seen since 2008. That's why I sold 99 of my socks. This was made public a few days ago. He made a lot of money when he sold those socks. He made a lot of money from that, and now people are looking at this. Some people will say that Michael J. Burr has been wrong 5 or 6 times in a row, and they will be right. This time it was the U.S. that he was wrong about, and when it will fall apart. Some people say we should pay attention to him because he saw the 2008 crisis coming. Now, I'll let you guys decide what you think. There will be a lot of killing in 2026. If we look at every previous cycle, we can see that the bull run will end in 2026. But I leave that up to you guys to decide if it will be a battle. I believe there is a chance in the crypto markets, but everyone has their own view. But that was in 2026. It's still 2025. So that's still, a year or so away. You can still make a lot of money. So let's talk about the XRP price right away. There are some crazy signs for XRP right now. The first one is a week. When I first talked about the stochastic RSI, I said that it was a crazy sign that things were about to get really exciting in the next few weeks. The daily stochastic RSI also tells a very strong story. The orange line is about to go above the blue line, yes. And there have only been a few red days here. There are a lot of strong signs that prices could go up in the short run. And more very important thing, supply of money, M2. Everyone knows that the U.S. will lower interest rates this year. The U.S. has the best economy in the world, and China has a lot of cash when the money mill is running. Great Britain has a lot of money. Japan, you have a lot of money. They all need to do this, but Japan might take a different approach since they are going to raise their rates after having them low. Yes, but that doesn't happen very often in this field. Japan has always had low rates. Not so much in the U.S. right now. Rates were very high in the U.S., China, and Europe for a long time. All of those countries that have a big impact on trade around the world are going to print money, which is what really matters. Yes, I think the waters will open as soon as the U.S. cuts these rates. That's what will bring money into the system. There's going to be mayhem like we've never seen before. And the numbers don't lie when they say that a record number of small players are getting involved. And that number will only go up as their bills go down and money comes in.